Okay, and here in a second you will be able to see my screen. And so let me ask you if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, great. All right. So hopefully everybody knows how to get into Blackboard. If you're not sure, let me go ahead and show you. So you would go to the EPCC website, or you can go directly to my EPCC. On the right side, you'll click on EPCC. And then you have on the left-hand side a Blackboard tab. So for me, since I'm already logged in, it didn't ask me to log in. If you haven't logged in, it's going to ask you for your username and password. So you would just enter your email and your email's password. Okay, so once you're in this page of your Blackboard, what you see here is just a stream, what we call a stream, and that just tells you everything that is happening in your courses. If somebody asks a question, it'll all be in here. So if you notice, there's a lot of stuff going on in my classes right now. So just click on courses on the left-hand side, and that's going to pull up all your courses that you're currently teaching. If you notice here, it's a little hard to see what class is which. Two ways that you can find your classes are the top numbers here. That's your CRN number. Or you can also click on more info, and it'll show you what your CRN number is. So let me go ahead and go to a blank course that I created. So the goal of this session is basically to help you to build something where your students will come into. Our Blackboard shell is going to be our entry point. It's like our home for our students. And then from the Blackboard shell, a lot of us, since we teach math, we're going to be directing our students to go to other places. So for example, some of our students will go to Webassign, some will go to my math lab, and then some will go to my Labs Plus. Some of you might be sending them to Edpuzzle or any other website. But this should always be like your home for them to come back to. So how do we start to build our course? And please, if anybody sees any messages posted on the chat, just interrupt me, because right now I'm not seeing my chat, so I'm not sure. I can't see if anybody's asking a question, but I'll go and check as well. And at any time, if you have a question, please just let me know. Okay, so your course, when you log in, if you haven't done anything to it, it looks a little bit different than what you see here on the left side. So yeah, I'm going to show you how to create these tabs. So at the very top, you have a little plus sign. And here on the plus sign, it gives you 8 different choices. So when you press on content area, you can call this anything you want. I'm going to call it syllabus. If you want this to appear for your students, it's important that you click available to users and then you press submit. Since I already have stuff in my course, it automatically puts it at the very bottom. So all you need to do is just put your mouse in the arrows here, and you can drag it anywhere you want. Since it's syllabus, I'll put it at the very top, and now you can see it. The little box here, this little box just means that you don't have anything in there. For example, if I click on it, there's nothing in there for the student to see. Whereas if I click on lecture notes, I have stuff in there. So this is just for you to know that, hey, I haven't put anything in there. Let's say you make a mistake and you don't want to call it syllabus 2. You can click the arrow here and you can rename the link. So let's say I want to call it math file or something. You need to make sure you press the little green check mark, and then it's going to change it. If you don't want this tab at all, you can also click the arrow and just press delete. And it's going to ask you 3 times to make sure that you really want to delete it. If you don't want to delete it, you can also hide it. And if you hide it, the students won't be able to see it. I'm going to go ahead and delete and delete. Okay, so now it's gone. If you notice here, all these tabs look a little bit different. The course information is bold and it's a little bit wider, I guess. It's a little bit, I don't know how to call it, but a little bit wider. It stands out more than these three here. And then I have a little line that separates my course information from my coursework and my communication. So I'm going to show you how to make these highlighted subheaders. That's what they're called. So a subheader, you can click on the dot, on the plus sign, scroll all the way down to subheader, and you can call it anything you want. So let's call it homework. And if you notice, if I scroll down, here's the tab that I just created, and I can come in here and put it anywhere that I like. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And for these, it doesn't ask you 3 times if you're sure, because it really doesn't have anything in there. Before I continue, is there any questions? Let me check that really quick. Okay, so Shadi can't hear me. Maybe Shadi, check your mute button, see if you're mute. Okay, so okay, sounds good. All right, let me go back to the course. All right, so now you know how to add these subheaders. I like to add the subheaders to just kind of separate my material so it doesn't just look like one big tab. Anyways, under course information, I'll show you how to upload your syllabus. You might want to upload your syllabus just in case your student lost it over the spring break, the dog ate it, or anything that might have happened. So to do that, you can add either an item or a file. So I'm going to go ahead and create both today so that you can see what the difference is. I'm going to create an item first. So let's call this instructor syllabi. And here, it's going to give you a text message. You can say, please read the syllabus. If this was the first day, second day, I mean, it doesn't matter what you order. And you can either add the link by pressing this paperclip, or you can just scroll down and look at the browse my computer and pick a syllabus. I have some syllabus from generic syllabus here. It doesn't matter which one I pick. Let me just pick this one. You can make your files PDFs. I find it that PDFs are better, but it could be a spot as well. So once you have it in there, then you have some options. Always make sure that this says yes, because if it says no, then they can't view it. It's automatically default at yes. Track number of views. This is important if you want to make sure, excuse me, if you want to see if your students are looking at what you're adding. So if I press yes, then I'll be able to go in and see if anybody looked at this file. You can put a restriction on the dates if you want it available from today until the end of the semester. I normally just this blank. And you click submit, and so this is what the students will see. Now notice the difference if I chose file. So let's call this instructor syllabus. Here, automatically, it just asks you for your file. And if we scroll down, you have the same tabs, but now you have a different option. You can open in a new window, and I always say yes to this. No means that they would just open within the Blackboard. Yes, it just opens in a new window. Then I'm going to track my views and press submit. So have you noticed just the view is a little bit different. If you want to see what your students actually, how your students actually see it, at the top right of the page, you have something called an edit mode, and it says that it's on. If you click it, it's going to say that it's off. And so when it's off, that's what your students are really seeing. So in this case, a student would click on the actual file. We go ahead and do that. And it's going to open down here, depending on what type of computer they have. For me, it always opens down here. And on this one, they would actually click the link, and it would still open down here. So that's how the difference between an item and a file. Does anybody have any questions on item or file? Okay. So let me go back. So that was my course syllabus. Then you have my grade is where your students are going to see their stuff. We'll talk about that later. And then coursework, I think this is the important part. This is where your students can really get a sense of what they really need to do for the class. And so if you click on lecture notes, you can call it anything you want. You can call it content, course content. I like to put it as lecture notes. And if you notice, I went ahead and wrote 16 weeks in here. And the way you create this folder, let me get off of the mode. I need to click it back on so I can do stuff. These folders, I just create a content folder. I'm going to call it week 0, just for our viewing. And again, if you add something new, if you want to move it, you can just move it up. And we keep dragging it. And let's put it here. And so here it is. If you don't want the folder, again, you just click the arrow. You can edit it to rename it, or you can delete it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And so if a student, if you don't want to have week 1 through 8, because you already did that in your lecture class, you don't have to have it there. One of the positive things to have it is in case you want to put things in there for them to review later. They need to come back to review for an exam or anything like that. You can always start with week 9. So let's say the student clicks on week 9, and for that week, you might want to cover 3 sections or 1 section or whatever it is you're going to cover. So I would do a content folder, and I always like to separate it by section. So maybe we're in section 3.5 already. So we come in here, I'm going to call it 3.5. I'm going to track my views. And so now I have a section. What can we do with this folder? I already have one built, so let me just go back. So you can put for week 1, for example, I'm going to do these 2 sections. If I click on section 1.2, then this is an example of a learning path, for example. What I do for my classes is the first file they see is just going to be a document. It could be your student notes. It could be a PowerPoint. It could be anything that you feel you're delivering to the students. So I usually put a blank student notes where they would take notes. And I'll show you an example of what that looks like. And then usually I have a PowerPoint. In this example, I have the student notes. I have a video, and then I have a graph with the question for the graph. So I'm going to show you how to add each of these things. So I'm going to start a fresh one, that way a blank one. Okay, let me go to another one that doesn't have anything in there. The reason this has nothing in it is because it's just a blank shell. This is not my actual course. So let's call this section 3.4. Submit. And so now I'm going to add in here a file. Actually, let me go ahead and add an item. I'm going to call it section 3.4 student notes. I'm going to look for my section. .4 and I'm going to submit. So now the student has the section. I can go grab a PowerPoint to go with it. So let me grab the file. Just to save time, I'm going to pick whichever PowerPoint I have available. And so maybe I forgot to add instructions in here. So let me press edit. And I'm going to say print the notes, print the file, and take notes by looking at the PowerPoint or video. And then just submit. So now I put some notes for the students. And if you want to add a video in the build content, you can add an item, a file. SoftChalk is a whole different software. It takes time to learn, so you can obviously try to look at it. But for now, I'm going to not talk about it. You can add audio, an image, a video, and a web link. And I'm going to show you how to do this here in a second. The YouTube video, right now, if you click on YouTube video, it's not working properly. For example, if I want to find a video on solving linear equations and I press go, you're going to get this error. And what happens is Google changed their policy, and so that's why it's coming up like this. Our IT already knows about it, so they're working on fixing it. When it does work, it's really nice because all the videos will appear here and you just select one. Since it's not working and we still need to add a video for the student, then you can add it using a link. So you would say build content, and we're gonna put a web link. So first, let me go get a YouTube video. So we go to youtube.com, and to find a video, let's say we want end behavior. So you can read some of these. The thing with the videos is that some of these videos might not be good, but for the most part, they're probably pretty good. So whatever video you choose, you can choose to watch it or just take your chance. Khan Academy, their videos are pretty good, so I'm gonna trust that what they have here is okay. So how do we get the link? Down here it says to share. So if you click on that, you can just copy the link, and we're gonna take it back to our course. And so we go to build content. I'm gonna add a web link, and this will be in behavior video. You put the URL, just Control V to paste the link. You can add notes. And submit. And so now we have the video. To add an image, like a graph, you can just say image and say put graph here. Browse my computer. And there's my nephew. Let me pick a more interesting graph. And so here I would put, determine the determine if the degree is even or odd. Explain how you came about your answer. Or I'm just going to put Y. And then I'm going to say submit. So then my video is here. You can make it smaller. If you like, the way you make it smaller is you can do that as soon as you upload it. You can custom the dimensions right here and play with these numbers. And submit. So if you notice, the graph got a little bit smaller. You can highlight this or make them in bold. Or it would probably be best to put the instructions here above it. Watch the video and determine if the degree of the graph is even or odd. Now, one of the great things that you can do with the Blackboard Ultra that I'm using right now to record this is the following. Here is a graph, so if you guys take a minute to look at it, okay, and then I'm gonna go back to my course, and I'm going to ask a poll question. It's gonna be multiple choice, so I'm gonna say, is the graph of the graph even or odd? And I can just send this over to everybody and you all can vote. So if you can just click on one, don't worry if it's right or wrong. We're just trying to test the results or how to use the poll here. So everybody just click on even or odd. Let me put the graph back in case you want to see it. Here it is. This is going to infinity and this is going to infinity. And that should be the clue. Okay, so anyways, we have some results. If you want to stop the poll, then we can see the results. So let me stop this and go back. Okay, so this is what I would consider. So now, after the students have the notes, the PowerPoint, the video, maybe a graph or whatever else you're going to put in here, now I want them to do homework. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here. All my homework is on the learning system through Webassign or my Math Lab or any of those other tools. So I would click here a web link. And I'm going to say section 3.4 homework. And let's take them to Webassign, for example. So you just add the link. The link has to include the HTTP in front. I can add notes here. Complete the assignment. Submit. So now the student knows that they're going to look at the notes, the PowerPoint, maybe a video, or you could have 5 videos in here. Depending on the section, you might need more than one video. And then if they click on homework, it will just take them to Webassign and they log in. I will be having sessions on how do we make a homework assignment on Webassign or on my Math Lab or whatever tool we're using. So that will be a second session. For some of you, you might want to say, well, you know what, I want to create my own videos. And so I do have a session on which software would be best for that. Is it the one I'm using right now with all of you, which is our Blackboard Collaborate? Or is it going to be Zoom, or we have Screencast-O-Matic? For the one that I'm using now, let me check. if somebody has a question. No? Okay. For this one, let me finish talking about these tabs over here. So that's what's lecture notes. Webassign is just a link. It's going to take them to Webassign. Or if you're using my MATLAB, that would take you to my MATLAB. Or if you have my Labs Plus, we can add it in here as well. And again, the way you add it is you click the little plus sign. I'm going to do a web link. This is my Labs Plus for the Emporiums. Let me see. Submit. And so that takes me to the Emporium one. Okay. And I don't want it to be down here. I want it to be over here. All right, so that is what I have for coursework. That's where they're going to do all their coursework. And then communication. For course messages, the way you add that, again, these are called tool links. So you press tool link. And I usually, in my classes, I call it email. But our Blackboard people want us to call it what they are, which is course messages. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 because I already have something called that. And so here you can add any of these tools. If you click on email, this is actually an email that goes to their EPCC email. So I don't like to use that. I like to use the course messages. And I'll explain why here in a second. So submit. And now you see your course messages. Let me go ahead and delete that. So for course messages, what happens is all your messages for this class will be stored in this class only. And so if you want to create a message, you would just press create. You would pick your students. I have no students in this class right now. And move them over to send them a message. Write your message. You can add files, upload them here, or you can upload them in here. You press submit, and so the message goes. Anytime you send a message, it actually puts it in your inbox as well. And then it puts it on your sent message. So you can click here, and you would see your emails are in here. You can click them, and then reply. At any time, if you're trying to go back to your original place, up here on the top, it tells you where you're at. So I'm going to press my folders, and that's where I was at. You can select them, and you can mark as read. And so that's your course emails. Announcements, it's also a tool link. So again, you would add it the same way. You would come in here, press tool link, announcements, and then you would press submit. And then the discussion is also a tool link. So let me show you how to create an announcement. You click on it, and then you say create announcement. I'm going to say welcome. Welcome. And I can say here, welcome class. To get started, go to the lecture notes and click on week 9 or something like that. You can have a date if you like. So you can say, I want it to start today and end tomorrow. I always have it at no date restriction. And then you can click the box here and say, send this to their email as well. So it's going to tell the students your instructor has posted an announcement. And then you just click submit. And so the announcement will appear here. Discussions, if you want to have discussions. So for example, I asked a question about end behavior, so I can have my students come in here and discuss what their answers were for end behavior. To create a forum, you just press create. And here I'm going to say general questions. And this can be where students go in and ask you any questions that they might have. If you have any questions, post in this forum. And so now the student can go in here. And the great thing about having a general question forum is that students will log in. If they have a question, they can say, I can't, or homework. They could say, I can't find the homework, or something like that. So then when they do that, I can go in here and respond to their message, or another student can respond. It is located in the week 9 folder. And you'll find that a lot of students will help each other in this discussion thread. The Blackboard Ultra session is what I'm using to record this. The same thing, you would add a tool. And you just look for it in here, and it's right here. So then you would press submit. To use Blackboard Ultra, you click on it. And if you notice here, I have several sessions that are going to happen soon. So you can create a session. Let's call it practice. You select the start time. This number here is what a student would call in case they don't have a mic. The way you guys got in here is I copied this link and I send it to you through email. So this is a link that you can give students that are not enrolled in your class. For example, why would you want to do that? Let's say you have 3 sections of 13-14. You might not want to do the same live session for 3 different classes. So what you can do is build the session in one class and then copy the link to all your other sections. That way everybody can log in at the same time, or they'll be able to watch it later. Okay, so you would put the time and everything in here. If you never want it to end, you just put no end. So for example, that's what I'm going to have our tutors do, is just have it open. And you can let people get in, at any time, 60 minutes. I don't know why somebody would want to be in there for an hour with nobody else. I think if they come in early though, like say 2 people come in early, I think they can chat with each other, but I'm not sure on that. I'll have to research that. The settings, you can choose your role. Okay. You can allow people to download your recording. And then here you can either take these off or leave them on there, doesn't matter. And then you can allow people to chat privately with you or other people. And so let me just press save. And so it's going to be here because I made it for this time. Let's say you messed up on the time. You just say edit settings. And notice if I change the time for this to end at 9:39, it automatically changes it for you, even if you already started the session. So you notice here it ended. Okay. So where are these videos going to go? If you click on this 3 arrows, you can go to recordings, and they're going to appear here. They don't appear right away. It takes time before it appears here. Okay. Let me see, I have one more thing to show you over here. Let me go back to lecture notes. Let's say you wanted to add your own video. Let me find a different. You can add a Zoom video from Zoom, but I wanted to show you if you press on Screencast-O-Matic, I'm going to say section 3.4 video, instructor video, because I'm going to make this video myself. And then I'm just going to press here, submit. So if you click on it, it takes you to the Screencast-O-Matic. For me, it's already set up because I'm already logged in. But it's really cool because I can just press new recording. And it's going to take me to the Screencast-O-Matic. And I'm going to press record down here. And if I open a page, for example, I can open up my notes or just a blank page. And then I can start writing. Let's see. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not letting me write. So usually my pen will pop up, but it's not popping up right now. I guess it's tired. But you can start writing your notes in here with your students. Let me see why it's not doing it. Okay, well, I'm not gonna waste time on that right now, but normally the pen will automatically start writing. I don't know if it's because I don't have it inserted into my, I left it out all night, so I don't know if it needed charging on my pen. Or you can cast a, let's say you finish your video. So I can stop the video. And then it's gonna say done right here. I say done. And then I just say upload. And title, you can title it, upload. You can do the captioning on Screencast-O-Matic, and it's actually very simple to do the captioning. We probably don't have to worry about that right now since we're all in this situation. But the reason I like this Screencast-O-Matic is because it automatically puts your video into Blackboard. So you'll see that here right now. And so now the video is here. So for example, a student can log in. They click here. And let me go back. It's going to take a few minutes to upload. You can press embed, and so now it's here. So the great thing is that the student doesn't have to go to a different website. It's just going to be in here. Let's play, and there it is. I will have a session on just adding videos later today, I think. So we might be out of time. I haven't kept time. Let me check the time. Let's see. So we're going, okay, we still have time. So anyway, so the purpose of this video again is to show you how to put these tabs. Now, if you notice, when you log into my course here, let me get out of here and choose the course again. It automatically takes me to my course messages. That's not going to happen automatically. You actually have to change where you want your students to, what you want your students to see first. To do that, you would go all the way down, and under customization, if we click on this, you can say teaching style. And in the entry point, I have it in course messages, but you can put it under announcements or anything that you like. And then I'm going to press submit, and it's going to change it. So for example, if I get out and I click, now I'm under announcements. You can also change some other things on your teaching style. Let me see. You could add a banner if you like. They used to let us change the color, but they're not doing that anymore. So anyway, so I think the entry point is important. Normally in the semesters, I begin with, I have a tab in here that says first day instructions, and they start there. And then in the middle of the semester, I change it to announcements. That way they can see any announcements that I put up right away. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the Blackboard, and I wanna stop sharing here so I can show you. You can also share a blank whiteboard on here, and then you can start to write. So you can start writing with your pencil. Okay, and so on. If you don't have a pencil, you can use a mouse. It's a little bit harder with the mouse, but if you have a stylus, then it's great because you can write problems in there. You can share the files and so on. All right, so Lorena says, make sure the videos you select have closed captions. All right, so is there any questions that you might have? Again, Blackboard is kind of like your homeroom for the students. And then from there, for most of us that teach math, we have to rely on another website, which is, for example, my math lab, Webassign, my Labs Plus, my Open Math, or any of those. So I basically use my Blackboard as their home page. And then they know that they go out to the other websites to do the homework and the exams and all that. You can still do paper homework in here. Basically, you could say work on this worksheet and send them back to me. And so you can do that as well. And then you can grade it and send it back to them through email. Later, once we get started, after this week, then we'll create some videos on how to input grades and stuff like that. Okay, does anybody have any questions about anything? There's actually a little raise your hand here, but you guys don't have to do that. You can just ask if you have anything. Yeah. So Lorena put her hand down. Thank you, Lorena. So no questions? Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording, and then if you have questions, you can still stay and ask me questions.